everybody, it's the War Hipster here, coming at you with another Contrast Plus painting tutorial, and today we are painting this absolutely gorgeous Marshal. But he's not just any Marshal, is he? He's a Freeguild Cavalier Marshal, and he is absolutely stunning. It's a very, very popular miniature. Very excited to paint him. He looks incredible, and that's exactly what we're going to be doing. He's been sent to me early by Games Workshop to build up and paint for all of you. And, well, we are going to jump right in and we are going to get started. Now, he's been primed in Grey Seer, just like the rest of the Hammerhall, Aksha, Cities of Sigmar stuff that we've done. And the colour we're going to be using first is Skeleton Horde. And we're going to be applying this over the top of all of the horse's flesh. I'm just going to start just here around the nose. Now what you want to be careful of when you're doing this is not using too much paint at once, because we don't want loads of those kind of brown elements that Skeleton Horde has in. We're looking for that bone texture that it has. With all that Skeleton Horde applied, we're then going to take some Black Legion and we're going to apply this over the top of the horse's mane, tail and hooves. And what we'll also do here is we'll apply this over the top of the horse's eyes as well. So with that Black Legion all applied, what we're now going to do is going to take some Ratling Grime. I'm going to apply this over 5 different areas. So the first one is going to be around the nose. So I'm going to apply this like this up to that bit of leather. And get this under the chin as well. And in there. I'm just going to flip it over and do the other side too. Like that, and then I'm going to take a small amount of Ratling Grime, and around here we're just going to add a little bit of it, like that. Give the brush a quick wash, and then just going to blend it like that. We do the same thing on the other side here. Wash the brush. And then blend it together. And then we're going to do the same thing on the horse's socks. So we're going to start down here. I'm going to come up to the knee joint like that. Wash the brush and then feather away at that transition so you get that lovely little blend. Flip them over and then do the inside as well. You want to do this on all 4 of the horse's legs. So with that done, just whilst we're waiting for it to dry, what we're going to do is we're going to take some Wyldwood and we're going to apply this over the top of the leather of the horse's tack. So we're looking for the reins around here. like that. We've got the, I believe it's called the girth, but I can't remember. Anyway, it's the saddle strap. Underneath here. And we've got the straps on the back. Of the horse's rump. So with that now done, we're going to once again take Black Legion. We are going to be going back and forth to this quite a bit, just for the sake of ease. And what we're going to do is we'll be applying the Black Legion over the top of the saddle blanket. Just under here. Like so, and we're going to be applying this to the ringmail cloth just around there like that. Now you can also apply this over the top of the boots of our Marshal. Like this. And if you want to, at this stage, you can also apply this over the large Sigmar icon here and this bit on the end of the horse's head armour. I'm going to do this bit now, but I'm not going to do the Sigmar bit, because I'm going to have to apply some silver around that, and we're just going to get silver all over it. So it's just easier to avoid doing that right now. What we'll also do, though, is we'll apply this over the top of this bag strap. Just here. Like so. We'll apply it over these bag straps here and here, and we'll apply it over the bag straps here, here and here as well. So with all that Black Legion now applied, we're then going to take some Gore-Grunta Fur, and we're going to apply this over the top of the leather bags. So with that Gore-Grunta Fur all applied to all of those bags, what we're then going to do is take some Black Templar, and we're going to apply this over the top of the wood of the saddle. So with that done, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some Imperial Fist. I'm going to apply this over the top of the reins. And so with that done, because I forgot to do it, what we're going to do is we're going to take some Wyldwood, I'm going to apply this over the top of the holster strap. Like that. And we're also going to apply this over the handle of the pistol. And with that done, we're then going to take some Creed Camo. I'm going to apply this over the top of the bedroll and the cushion on his saddle. So with that all done, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some Blood Angels Red. I'm going to apply this over top of the pistol holster. Just there. Like that. So with that done, the yellow should be fully dry by now. So what we're going to do is we're going to take some Gryph-Hound Orange. I'm going to start drawing in that kind of checkered pattern that you can see on the box art. So I'm going to take a small amount of this on the top of our brush, and we're just going to start here by the S. So we're going to draw a little line coming across like that, and then we're going to block that in. Just like that. Then we're going to leave a little gap. I'm going to start just with the tip of this bit of hair, you see, just there. I'm going to draw another little line coming across like that, and then around about there. I'm going to draw another little line, and then we're going to block that one in, like so. Then we're going to leave another little gap, and around about where that kind of fold starts, we're going to draw another little line, like so, and then another one just there. Block that one in. Have a little bit more. Leave another gap. And we're looking for where the corner of the holster starts. Draw another little line just there. Block that one in. And then I'm going to do another one right up here. By the hand. Like that sort of thing. And then we're just going to replicate that on the other side. So with that done, we're then going to shade the reins using some Iyanden Yellow. So with that all done, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Iron Warriors. I'm going to start applying this over the top of all of the silver details. Now I'd recommend having the box art open in front of you to figure out what these are, because some of the kind of bits of trim on the bags are silver and some of them are not. And really it's dealer's choice at this point, but as you can see, the reason why we haven't done those bits of trim just there, all the Sigmar in the black now, is because it's just easier to cover this over the top. With all that Iron Warriors applied and dry, we're going to take some Black Legion again. And we're going to apply this over the top of the Sigmar bit. So with that now done, we're going to take some thinned down Retributor Armour. I'm going to apply this over the top of all of the remaining details around the horse. So with that done, we've got all of the base coats on the horse, but rather than shade it all now, what we're going to do is we're going to work on the rest of it, because, well, there's not too much variation here. So what we're going to do is we're going to firstly take a roughly 2 parts Targor Brown to 1 part contrast medium mix, and we're going to apply this over the top of the Marshal's clothes. So with that now done, we're going to take some Agrax Earthshade and we're going to apply this to the undershirt, which you can see just here, like that. And we're going to apply this to the inside of his clothes and the inside of the cloak. And with that done, we're then going to take some Baal Red and we're going to apply this over the top of the bottom part of the shield just here, the outside of the cloak, and over the top of the banner. And so with that done, we're then going to take Skeleton Horde and we're going to apply this over the top of the diamond on the shield, and any parchment. And with that done, similarly to before, what we're going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Iron Warriors and we're going to apply this over the top of all of the armour and the sword and things like that. And that's because we once again have some black trim that we need to do, but it is just easier to get this done first. So with that now done, what we're going to do is we're going to take a roughly 1-to-1 mix of Blood Angels Red and Contrast Medium, and we're going to apply this over the top of all of our red. And with that done, we're now going to take some Black Legion. We're going to apply this over the top of the gloves, the trim on the armour, the horse head at the top of the banner, the remaining areas on the shield, the cross guard of the sword, a whole heap of places. So with that done, we're then going to take some Fyreslayer Flesh. I'm going to apply this over the top of his face. And with that done, we're then going to take some Flesh Tearers Red and we're going to apply this over the top of the sword handle. So with that done, we've got all of our base coats on our Cavalier Marshal. So it's now time to add some shades. The first of these is going to be some Nuln Oil. And we're going to apply this over the top of the horse's mane and tail. We're going to apply this over the top of the gloves and boots on the Marshal. And we're going to apply this over the top of any of our black leather straps. As well as the sword blade. So with all that Nuln Oil applied, we're then going to take some Reikland Fleshshade and we're going to apply this over the top of the Cavalier's face. Just add a little bit more depth in there. Like that. And we're also going to apply this over the top of the Gore-Grunta Fur, the holster, the gold, and his clothes. And so with that done, we're then going to take some Targor Rageshade. I'm going to use this to shade all of the silver and the remaining black details. So with that done, our Cavalier Marshal is now what I would call a War Hipster battle ready. However, we're not going to leave it there. Of course not. I'm going to take him to the next level. I'm going to do this by adding some layers and some highlights. Now, the first of these is going to be some thinned down Ushabti Bone. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to start here on the horse's flesh. And we're going to do lots and lots of tiny little lines. So what we're just going to do is just going to start applying this. Just like this, over the top of all of the horse's hair. Well, it is horse hair, but just like that sort of thing. You want to go with the grain of the muscles. So for example, here on this leg, around this knee, we want to add a little highlight going around it, like that sort of thing. And we're not going to go down into the rattling grimy areas, but coming across this muscle, what we want to do is do lots and lots of little lines coming down like that. Same on the muscle next to it. And then across the front. So with all of that Ushabti Bone applied all the way around, as you can see, what we're then going to do is almost the same thing again, but using some Screaming Skull. And when I say almost the same thing, what I mean is we're going to do a few less of these. So for example, just under here on the belly, we're going to add a couple of them kind of in random spots. So with that all done, what we're then going to do is going to take some thinned down Karak Stone. I'm going to use this to highlight the darker Ratling Grime areas. So with that all done, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Stormvermin Fur. I'm going to use this to highlight all the horsehair. I'm going to start here on the mane. So that's Stormvermin Fur all applied. What we're now going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Administratum Grey. I'm going to use this to do two main things, one of which is to add some little spot highlights to the sharpest points in all the horsehair, mainly just to the tips of each of the strands. Like that sort of thing. But what we're also going to do with the Administratum Grey is we're going to use this to highlight all of our solid black details. And this is going to include things like the trim on this shield. So with that all done, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Leadbelcher. I'm going to use this to relayer all of the armour and the sword. So we're looking for the flat areas, just avoiding any of the recesses. to make it nice and shiny. So with all that Leadbelcher applied, we're then going to take some thinned down Ironbreaker. I'm going to use this to highlight now all of that silver. And this is going to include any of the kind of slightly smaller silver details that we haven't relayered, like those decorative bits on the pistol holster. So with all of that done, the silver is now finished, and as you can see, it really takes him up to the next level. So we're going to continue with metallics because we like to do these all together. And the colour we're going to be using next is some thinned down Liberator Gold. I'm going to use this to highlight all of the gold. So with that now done, we're then going to take some thinned down Gorthor Brown. I'm going to use this to highlight the dark brown on our Marshal. And with that Gorthor Brown applied, we're then going to take some thinned down Dawnstone. I'm going to use this to highlight all of our remaining black details, such as the boots, saddle cloth, straps, and the gloves. So with that all done, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Evil Sun Scarlet. I'm going to use this to highlight all of our red. So with that now done, what we're going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Bestigor Flesh. I'm going to use this to pick out the sharpest points in all of that red. So I'm just going to start just here on this corner, having a little bit of Bestigor Flesh. I'm going to bring it along that edge like that. Bring it down. And up like that. Take it across this corner and that one like that. Just like this. Similarly on our cloak. So with that all done, we're then going to take some thinned down Flayed One Flesh. I'm going to use this to highlight his skin. And with that done, we're then going to take a little bit of Volupus Pink, not very much at all here. And we're just going to apply this in between his lips. And with that done, we then want to take a really diddy amount of Black Legion here. And we want to apply this over the top of the eyeballs. And with that Black Legion applied, we then want to take a really tiny little dot of Screaming Skull. We want to apply this in the corners of each of the eyes. So with that now done, we're going to take some Frostheart. I'm going to use this to paint in the gem set in the hilt of the sword. And so with that done, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Corax White, because I want to add some kind of little text lines going along this large banner, because on the box art it's got this really cool design that's all free-handed in there, but I don't really want to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some thinned down Corax White, and I'm just going to add kind of like a really long kind of prayer scripture going all the way along it. So I'm going to start just here using the Corax White. I'm going to start adding these little squiggly lines. Coming along. And so with that done, we're going to finish things off now by taking a tiny amount of Targor Brown. And we're going to do exactly the same thing as we've just done on the red banner. We add some little text lines over the top of our parchment. So with that done, our Cavalier Marshal is now finished. So what we're going to do is we're going to very quickly work on the base, and the colour we're going to be using is Wyldwood, and we're going to apply this over the top of all of the soil. Of course, you don't have to do this, you can do it however you like to match the rest of your army. And with that, I'm going to take some Gryph-Charger Grey. I'm going to apply this over the top of all of the masonry. So with that all done, we're then going to take some Skeleton Horde and apply this over the skull. Like that. And with that Skeleton Horde applied, we're then going to take some Ratling Grime. I'm going to apply this over the top of all these trees. And with that Ratling Grime applied, we're then going to take some Stirland Battlemire. I'm going to apply this over the top of all of that negative space. Once that's all dry, we are of course naturally going to give the whole thing a dry brush of Tyrant Skull. With some tufts added and the base rim done in a Baden black, our Freeguild Cavalier Marshal is now finished. He's a real kind of little artist's piece. He's very, very cool. He's not like too wargamey to me. He looks more like a sculpt of a statue or a piece of a painting or something like that. But he's really, really cool and I like him. I really like him. He's cool.
If you enjoyed this video, you love the channel and you'd like to support me further, you absolutely can do so by heading to patreon.com/warhipster, just like all of these wonderful, amazing people have done. And alternatively, you could become a YouTube channel member by clicking on the join button below, exactly like these fabulous folks have done, scrolling up on the screen before you. There are so many of you out there that it really takes my breath away, and I cannot thank you enough for everything you do, as without you I wouldn't be able to keep making these Contrast Plus videos. And if you really like this video and you want to send me a little thanks, just click on the thanks button just below this video. Don't forget to share it, like it, comment on it, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and to make sure you stay up to date, don't forget to click the bell icon. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all very soon in the next one. Happy wargaming.